Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand with your host, Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.
And welcome to Paddy again, and welcome to Thailand. And in the studio today, one of my old muckers is here. Andy James, welcome to the studio. How are you?
Hello, delectable.
How are you? You okay?
I'm really good, thank you.
Nice to see you here. And you've even put a different nice coloured shirt on for the occasion.
Haven't I?
You have. You okay? How's things? How you been?
Well, every day's a groundhog day, isn't it?
Hog day. Let's go. Let's just, for people that don't know you too well, which I'm sure that there is a few out there as well, and of course people listening on podcasts. You've been in Pattaya in Thailand now for how long?
Permanently about 24 years now.
24 years, so quite a while.
I've seen a few changes.
Seen a few changes, especially on Beach Road, of course, going from sand to tarmac, of course.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
LK Metro didn't exist.
We was talking the other day. We spoke with Niels and Darren and a couple of other people from Pattaya, and they were just saying how it's changed over the years. And of course, the present climate at the moment, which we're going to be talking about later on in the show. But let's go first of all, of course, so people know you around Pattaya for what you've got, and of course that is Thompson's Property Pattaya, of course, which is up on Sawyer Kautala. Yes.
Yeah, I opened that with my partner Phil, who passed away over a year ago now. It's been going about 4 or 5 years, 5 years. And I also own a club on Walking Street,
which we're gonna jump over to that in a bit.
Are we?
We are. Yes, we're gonna go down Walking Street. Yeah, I think it's
Walking Street or Driving Street.
It's Driving Street at the moment, isn't it? One way. I mean, it's getting that bad down there. I've even seen parking attendants now with a hob leg.
I drove down there the other night just to peruse it, and very sad, very quiet.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go on to that first,
Sure.
but let's just talk about. The property market itself now. I mean, how has it affected everybody?
Well, there isn't really a property market at the moment. I've had my shop closed for a few months now, purely just to save money, and I've got my staff working from home. It's quiet. I mean, there are still people out there with some cash, and you've got people that have had rows with their landlords who are looking to move, and a few people are buying out there. Obviously, there's a hell of a lot of bargains. It's a buyer's world.
It's a buyer's world at the moment.
The problem is nobody's got any money.
No, let me just go to just wind back a couple of seconds to the people that are renting, of course. When you said the landlords, of course, and the people that are in dire straits and can't afford to do stuff. Are the landlords being a little bit compassionate or not?
Some are and some aren't. I mean, there's a big difference between a commercial rent and, let's say, residential. I mean, you are using it every day. You are living there.
Yeah.
However, the clubs and the restaurants and the bars and other businesses, cinemas that are all closed forcibly, some are now open, but some landlords have said no rent till this situation's over. Others have done half rents. Others have maintained that they want full rent. There's been no help from anybody really for small businesses, unlike say Europe and US and so on.
We was talking about this on the show. I think it was with Darren as well, and that is there is very sort of little support, isn't there? Really,
zero.
I mean, it's very, very, very little.
Zero for Thai people.
Well, there was the $5,000 end out, of course, which lasted for 3 months, and then they have to pay it back as a loan.
And only a very small percentage of
people
got
one payment.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then you've got people who work and pay PAYE, and they've got nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean, realistically, we're lucky. I mean, we have a small amount of savings, or you're okay. But there's Thai people out there who've got nothing, no income, no jobs.
We spoke about this with Darren, didn't we, Bobby? We spoke about this. 21 million on top of the already unemployed in Thailand.
It's devastating for Thai people, especially. They are just. I mean, how do you make money?
You can't, can you? I mean, yes, it's something that we spoke about, and we're all doing. Like me, I'm doing something for somebody, and I try and just.
I think we all are.
If it's a 50 baht or 100 baht or something, it means a hell of a lot to them. They can eat at least for the day.
Well, rather than closing my store, I'm letting them work from home on a slightly smaller salary, and if they need help, I help them. Obviously, with the club, there's so many employees that I just couldn't do it.
We're gonna hit Walking Street soon. I mean, the actual property market itself. I mean, like you said, it's from what I'm hearing. Like you said, it's a buyer's market at the moment. There's a lot of bargains out there, but of course,
nobody's even buying that.
Nobody's even buying that. But also, is there any people like that's abroad that are chomping at the bit to get here to buy those kind of things? Does that exist?
They can't even get here.
No.
So I mean, if they wanted to see it before they bought it, no. I'm sure there's investors out there who are, snapping up some real bargains. I mean, you're tending to find that on the higher end of property, 20 million baht houses, condos and so on, they're not moving at all. But your 2 million baht houses, 3 million baht houses, 4 million baht houses, there's slow movement in them. But really...
And the condo market is...
The condo market. I have a personal friend who owns over 300 condos here, and his occupancy rate's somewhere in the region of 3%.
Ow.
And of course, he's got all the overheads of management fees, and maintenance, and so on to pay. But so yes, it's really dire.
Talking about flights, I mean, we sat here. Me and Bobby was here the other day, and we had the live flight table working from Savannah Airport. You remember that, yeah? And 99.9% of it was in Thailand. There was nothing from America, nothing from the UK, nothing from Australia. Zero.
Well, what's the point? I mean, the problem is as well with this COVID situation.
Coming in, that is. Yeah, coming in.
Yeah. Well, not just coming in. I mean, I was speaking to a friend of mine, Peter, in London, a friend of mine for over 30 years, and Peter's been off work now for around 6 or 7 months. Now, when things get back to normal in the UK and people can start going back to work, number one, if they're lucky enough to even have a company that's still open to go back to work.
True.
The last thing their boss is going to do is say, oh, yeah, do you want a quick 1 month holiday to Thailand? Because the first 2 weeks of your holiday are going to be in state quarantine, and then you've got 2 weeks holiday. So even when flights are allowed in with 2 weeks quarantine, people are just not going to come because they're not going to want to do 2 weeks in semi-imprisonment.
We spoke to Darren about this. We spoke to Darren about this. Yeah. And basically, with the 30 days that you get, with the extra 30 days that you can get, with the 7 days that you can get, and then get the paper from them to say that you can't get home, and then you get another 30 days, and then you get another 30 days, and another 7 days on top. Darren sat here yesterday and worked it out that actually you can stay here for 11 months total, right? So when the flight comes in, I mean, I know that people have gone home, because I know people that have gone home from Thailand, they've made it, they've got there and everything, yeah? And actually one of my friends that went home just walked straight through the airport. There was no check-in, there was no quarantine, there was zero, yeah?
Funny you should say that. I was just reading a Facebook article or video of a guy called Alfie Wells, who's just gone back.
Same guy I'm talking about.
Are you talking about Alfie?
Yep.
And he got off at the airport, and there was just nothing.
Jersey, was it?
Jersey, that's right, yeah. And Alfie got off and just literally walked through and took the mask off. And, well, he didn't. He just saw other people doing it, and he made a Facebook post about it. And the Jersey, I don't know whether it's called the government or...
Yeah, he's making a complaint and everything about it. Talking about flights, I have a friend who 3 days ago flew from Utapao, to Phuket.
Right.
Yeah. And in Phuket, stayed in Phuket for 3 days and then flew back. No checks. Yeah. No checks at all. And the plane was absolutely full.
Well, why would there be? I mean, there hasn't been a case of COVID in Thailand
for 100 days now or something?
Something like that. Yeah, so internally, I don't think it's necessary for them to do it. And, you've got to take your hat off to Thailand on this one. The measures that they do every 7-Eleven I go into,
absolutely.
everywhere, they take your temperature. If you refuse to do that, they will not let you in. They will not let you in without a mask. I mean, England should really follow suit, and America should follow suit, and they would be not in the mess that they're in at the moment.
You've got to. We're in a situation all over the world. It's different situations all over, but you've got to hand it to Thailand that they closed the door and locked the door, didn't they?
They do, and I think a lot's to be said about our freedoms in America and England, where it's against my Fifth Amendment and so on. In Thailand, if they're told what to do, they do it. Same in China, same in Japan and Singapore. Whereas in Europe, we seem to have this attitude of, you can't make me do this. So.
How do you think? Okay, let's just go there for a second.
Sure.
Let's just take. Do you want to take America or UK?
It doesn't matter. They're
Okay,
the same.
so America or the UK? What about the rules that we have here and implement them over there? What do you think impact would be?
Well, I don't think people would take it. I think they'd start crying Fifth Amendment and human rights and, all the above, and refuse to do it. I mean,
they've got this great thing in America, haven't they? It's like, you can't put them pair of socks on. Yes, I can. Lawsuit.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean,
everything's a lawsuit, isn't it?
After going to your shrink, you then hit them with the lawsuit in America, yes.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? But, let's just take Alfie. I mean, he said that he got out, he got over in the UK, and he walked through, and I think what he's saying is there wasn't no checks or anything.
There was hardly anything in place.
Checks.
Hardly anything in place. So, Thailand is doing the right thing. There's all sorts of conspiracy theories out there that this doesn't exist. It does exist. I have personal friends who've had it. I don't know anybody who's died from it.
I think it exists. We don't want to go into it because we get into a massive debate and we'll be here all day and you'll say this and I'll say that and he'll say this. But I think it exists. But I think it's over-exaggerated.
That it's been put to. Yeah. I do believe there's an agenda behind it, as a lot of people do. I mean, we talk about it. And the nurses that came out
overinflated.
Well, the real nurses and doctors that came out in the press saying, we are putting down deaths of COVID, even though they died of a heart attack.
Well, they had, what was it, Bobby? It was in America, wasn't it? The total figures was something stupid, and then somebody came out and one of the doctors said, actually, the real COVID figure is 6% of that.
Well, look what England did.
Yeah. Is that right?
Once the doctors came out and the nurses came out, all of a sudden they made an announcement, oopsie, the computer made a mistake, and it doubled the figures. I mean, come on, guys. Yeah,
but the thing in America, he knows more than I do about this, but I believe that somewhere in America, if they go in and they get a cold or the flu or something like that, they get about $500 or $600. But for a COVID patient, they got about $30,000.
I think if they used it.
Yeah,
that's
30,
right.
000,
if they went on a ventilator,
you should get a mic.
Tripled.
Get a mic. But so you can't blame them. It's money.
I would be. I'd be
money.
straight on that ventilator, please.
That's what we spoke about. Greed, isn't it?
Another 30 grand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
In every crisis, people make money, rightly or wrongly.
So what about? I mean, when the COVID. Let me do this right and say it in the right way because I don't want to offend anybody.
It's not like you, David.
All right. Anyway, so when the COVID started, there was a lot of people out there helping. A lot of people, yeah, and they were doing
a lot of expats.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There was a lot of expats doing a lot of good things, but of course that can't continue forever.
Well, it hasn't. It's stopped.
Has it stopped now?
In general, I mean, you had bar owners, you had restaurant owners
doing great jobs.
There were some Thai businesses
as
well.
Sure,
that
absolutely.
were helping,
absolutely. Brilliant.
But in general, it was Westerners who were helping. However, I think a lot of them got to a point where, why should we be helping and not getting any help from anywhere else? And donations dried up, and in the end, and then you had the situation where people were queuing for food, free food, and officials were coming down and telling them, "Oh, too many in the queue, can't do it."
My friend got really, I'm not going to say who it was, but his girls and some people were giving out the boxes of food to help the people, and there were girls pulling up in Mercedes and Fortuners, putting their window down, and they were giving him bags of food. He went berserk.
Well, do you know the problem is maybe they weren't paying for their Mercedes. Well, maybe they were broke.
Whatever. But I mean, come on. I mean, this is something that we want to go into because me and Darren had a debate yesterday, and it was great. And I'm just going to bring you into it for a second, if you don't mind. Border runs. Okay, they still exist. They're still there.
Never done one.
They're still here. Anyway, so let's just put it this way. Darren being in the visa industry since day one, blah 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 blah, yeah, and I totally agree with this. Right. Why do they do a border run? Okay, Now, I know what you're going to say, but let's just bear with me for a second. They put him in a van, there's 13, 12 people. They go at 140 kilometres on the wacky roads, yeah?
Right.
They drive down there, they go over the border, they give all their money to Cambodia, and then they come back. Right? So I said to Darren, what do you think that is? He said, simple. Why is there a need for that? Why can't the Thai people, the Thai government, make their own offices for extensions, yeah? No border runs. You pay $5,000 a month or whatever you pay, yeah? And Thailand gets the money because it's trillions and trillions and trillions of baht that they're giving away. When it could go to looking after people and feeding people, no?
Would it go to looking after people?
We're not going to go. We didn't go down that road, which it's like, lining pockets, blah blah blah. We know all that kind of stuff, but we didn't go down that road. But theoretically, I got it right this time, yeah. Theoretically, without licking the mic, it's true, yes.
Yeah, it's true. If it worked that way.
So after the COVID, according to what I spoke with Darren yesterday, which you'll probably be interested in this as well, after the COVID has subsided and things start to get back to normal, they're going to come out with a new visa. They're coming out with a new visa that's going to allow people at least 3 to 6 months stay. Yeah.
Well,
not
that
a tourist
should have
visa.
been done years ago.
Yeah, not a tourist visa. That's what they're talking about.
Unfortunately, that's what tends to happen. Too late.
Yeah.
They make a rule and see the error of that rule and then double back on it and go completely the other direction. So yeah, that's great. That's really good. I mean, they need to really, really make Thailand look good to tourists to come back here.
Yeah, but I mean, when they turn around and say, "Oh, it's free visas," yeah,
well,
but it's
why
only
not?
free visas for the Indian people and for the Chinese people. That was a bit sort of like, whoa, hang on a minute.
Dare I say racist?
Yeah, absolutely. What are you doing that for? If you're going to say free visas, say free visas.
It's chasing the money.
Yeah, but say free visas. Do it for everybody. Don't do it for
the same as a rather
minority.
large, who I won't mention, a rather large department store or a shopping mall, who said that for all our Indian guests, anybody who spends 1,000 baht gets a 500 baht meal voucher. I think you know the one I'm talking about. Wild guess.
Well, let me have a wild guess there.
And I thought, okay, well, enjoy your Indian tourists because I will never shop there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just...
And it's not about the voucher, it's just about the principle of it.
But, I mean, when it comes to the border and thing, this is something I can't get out of my head. The Thai people are so nice people, right?
Yes.
And they're so hard workers. A lot of them really, really work hard, yeah? And they're really sincere people. But they don't get any help.
None.
Okay? Whereas if they just took the money from the border runs... Just imagine how much money they would make or how much money they've lost.
Well, think about all the PAYE that's taken.
Yeah,
and still
sure,
no help. So
sure.
whether a border run would...
Well, it was trillions. It was trillions of baht, but it depends where it goes. I mean, it might go to buying another underwater boat, but I don't know. But
Mercedes,
yeah,
Porsche,
or whatever. So going back to the actual property market, can you see the foreseeable future of it lifting again? Even, let's just say COVID finished tomorrow.
Which isn't going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. But if it did, how long do you think it would take to recoup?
That's a good question, isn't it? It depends what tourists come here. I mean, people seem to forget that Thailand was already struggling before COVID. In the bar industry, a lot of restaurants that were there for Phalangs or European tourists were already struggling because in many ways it had been made almost uncomfortable for people to come here who were from Europe, although it was, they were being very nice to the Indians and the Chinese. So the demographic of Pattaya was changing massively before COVID. And if you were in a business that really only portrayed towards Westerners, you either had to look into the Chinese and Indian market to get them on board with you, or really barely break even, if not lose money. And that was before COVID. And people are, great, COVID's going to be over. Is that going to change the demographic that was already in place? I don't know. I also know that even, when COVID's over, it's not going to be over worldwide on the same day.
No.
So,
I mean, we've had no registered cases in Thailand now. For
well, we
over
have
100 days.
actually. We've people coming in from quarantine.
Okay,
I think there was 4 or 5 Americans that came in.
Americans, okay,
with it. Well, regardless whether they're American, Korean, Chinese, human beings came in, and it came into Thailand. But
that's a great word.
Human beings.
That's a great word. That's
Yes.
not racist. That's the
Well,
word.
no,
that's the word that everybody should use.
Human beings.
Human beings, then there would be no arguments, would they?
Well, none. No.
I mean, this. I'm not.
Human lives matter.
We're not even going to go there. yeah. I mean, I seen somebody the other day. I mean, somebody said that fat lives matter. Fat lives matter. We're having a meeting. We're having a meeting.
I should bloody hope so.
We're having a meeting today at McDonald's at 11 and Burger King at 5.
I've been on my diet.
Have you? What do you weigh now?
I'm not telling you that on the air.
Come on, tell me. I'll tell you what I weigh.
I'm down to.
Hang on. Why are you saying down to? Because that's just making it sounding better.
Well, it is.
You can say that you've gone up to if you want.
I'm on a relatively carb-free diet, which for me, carbs is beer. So I've switched to vodka.
Okay, so what do you, at this moment in time in the studio? I wish you had scales down. We should have put you on the scales.
I'm not telling all my potential fans.
I think you are around about 98.
I really like you.
Okay, all right.
We'll stick with that, shall we?
And the other leg is around about
the middle one.
Don't call you tripod for nothing, do they? I'm down. I'm really happy, actually. I'm down to 91.
That's only because you can't afford to feed yourself.
Correct.
Pop over to my place for some low carb fish and chips.
Yeah. Do you know you're one of the? I've got to say this. I mean, you're one of the people I hate on Facebook. You know that, don't you?
Because I'm so popular?
Not at all. You're the one I really hate because every time I switch my phone on and I start scrolling on there, you've cooked some beautiful food,
Yes,
which looks
I like
absolutely gorgeous, And then I look over at my fried rice.
You can come over for some lessons and use my sous vide machine.
Lessons.
Yeah, I'll show you how to boil food in water. Everybody should get a sous vide machine.
Really. What? What is it called?
Sous vide machine.
Do you know that one, Bobby? What is it?
Basically, it's.
You should get a microphone.
You should.
You get a microphone. Put it on here. Come on.
Basically, it cooks food in a sealed bag at a exact temperature. So even if you were to leave your steak in there for half an hour too long, it would not overcook because it's an absolute temperature that doesn't go up or down. Whereas if it was in a pan, it'd get hotter and hotter and burn.
Okay. Interesting.
And then basically what you do, you take the food out, pat it dry, and then just sear it in a frying pan.
It's interesting, isn't it?
That's what
I've got one of those air ovens.
That's what most top-end restaurants would use.
I've got one of those air ovens. Their ovens are good, they are. No oil, no
everybody's telling me about them, but I haven't used one.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, we had ribs, and we just put them in like 3 big.
I'm just not into doing oven chips and.
No, it's not an oven. I mean, it's called.
No, it's an air fryer.
It's an air fryer, but you just put it on the rack. You just turn it on.
What are you doing? Put slices of pizza in there.
Why? What put slices of pizza in for?
What do you want to just crisp?
You put anything in it. It's an oven, but it's an air oven.
Okay.
But I don't cook pizza in it.
What do you cook?
Meat, ribs, and all those kind of things.
Reheating ribs.
Pizzas and chips.
Pizzas and chips. Reheating crap. Microwaves do that.
No, I don't reheat. No, we actually cook in it. It's very good because you don't use any oils, you don't use anything. It just cooks itself, and actually it tastes a lot better. And it was a very good buy.
I cannot believe for 1 minute that homemade chips done in beef fat would taste worse than an air fryer.
I never said that.
We're talking silliness here.
Yeah, I mean, oven fried chips never taste the same.
No.
Never taste.
Well, even if you just cut a potato up and throw it in the air fryer, I'm sorry, I'd rather have mine done in beef dripping, to be honest.
Beef dripping?
Oh, yes.
You're posh.
Am I?
Yeah.
Is beef dripping posh?
I'm sure it is. I never had beef dripping.
Every chippy in Liverpool had
every chippy in Liverpool now.
We're hardly posh there, are we?
So
obviously the elocution lessons worked.
I went to a school and it was approved. Don't you worry about
that. Some people. What's the saying? Some people were brought up in Eton, and some people were eaten and brought up. I was the latter.
Okay, all right. You spend a lot of your time here, and you've seen the property market change. When you came to Thailand, can you remember how much it was to the pound? when you first got here?
Christ.
Do you remember?
Actually, it wasn't huge. It was around 55.
Do you know, I found, because I found that really weird, because I looked at a chart the other day. Somebody said when he got here, it was like 81.
No.
Yeah?
When he got here, it might have been 81.
Yeah, it was all over the place, though.
Well, no, it went through a period of time. Don't forget that the Thai baht crashed. And that crashed, if I remember rightly, around 96, 97.
Okay.
And it was up at something like, I was here before that. I was over in Hong Kong, working in Hong Kong. And I then came over here just as the Thai baht crashed. So I think it was somewhere around 75 in 96, 97. And then it went down to where it should be for many, many years, around 55.
What do you...
to the pound.
Yeah, we were speaking about this the other day.
Dollar was about 43.
What do you think is the comfort zone? 50 to the pound?
I think 50, 55 is the correct.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, the pound got really strong again. And my parents came over here probably 10 years later, so 2007 or something. And it was around 75 to 80 then. So there's been two major times that I've been here over the last 20 odd years.
When it's dipped and dived.
But in general, correct figures really, if there is a correct figure,
55-ish.
55, yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest changes since you've been here? What you've seen, or what's really stood out in your in your mind? I mean,
how many hours have you got?
Yeah, but when we were here, we can talk.
Well,
I mean,
when I came here, Pratamnak Hill was a jungle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's owned by one family. You know, I'd say 90%, if not more. In fact, I remember when I first came here, everybody wanted to live in Viewtale 1 because it was the place.
Viewtale 1 is where, Andy? Where is that?
You don't know where Viewtale 1 is?
I'm asking you for the sake of the show.
Oh, okay. Well, it's on Thaprea Road. Okay. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, where's that, Dave?
Thaprea Road, I know where that is, where you go up the hill.
Pattaya,
Yeah, it's in Pattaya.
Well
It's in Pattaya, isn't it?
Well
yeah,
done,
Chonburi.
you, Dave. And you were in property yourself, weren't you, Dave? You were in property yourself for a while.
But I touched on it. It's not my forte.
Okay, well, anyway, the all singing, all dancing.
Was that a dig? It was a dig, wasn't it? That was a dig.
It was a dig.
Okay.
He's rather slow, isn't he? So basically, Viewtale 1, I remember it very well. That was built and finished in 1997, I believe. And that was a place to be. In fact, most of the guys who've been here a long time have lived at some period of time in Viewtale 1. And it was just a new modern building. I think Centre Condo was one of the few ones which has always looked like a bit of a death trap to me. You know, the wiring. It's a very good location right by the cemetery. It's a little smoky at times, but hey.
That was all right for self-service, though, isn't it? Eh?
Yes. But no, Viewtale 1, I remember that very well. And then, of course, Viewtale 2 and 3, and on they went. And then there was a huge explosion of condominiums in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. But 97, really, Viewtale 1 was one of the few new modern style condominiums, and everybody wanted to be there. And I remember the prices, actually. A single unit, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, a single studio.
Which is what, roughly square meters?
32 square meters in Viewtale 1. Mm-hmm. I think there's one unit that's 37, but 32 square meters was around 500,000 baht in 1997. That was empty. You needed to
furnish it
and put the electrics in. And
so 7 by the time you finished?
Something like that, 700, depending on how you did it.
Yeah.
And that's done the whole circuit now. Viewtale 1's a great investment. I mean, a lot of older people live there because the rents are very cheap, and also it's a community. You've got hairdressers and massage and restaurants and, legal firms and property companies all within Viewtale 1. Still, I think they've got one of the biggest pools of condominiums.
I believe they have, and it's a nice fish and chip shop downstairs as well.
I've never been.
It's nice. So that was like the prime property at the time.
At the time, it was.
At the time,
that was the go-to condo.
So what was the? I mean, because I don't know. I mean, what was the sort of after that? What was the landmark? What was like a landmark in Pattaya that was built sort of after that? Can you remember that? What about Pattaya Park itself? When was that here when you came in?
Pattaya Park, was it here? I don't know. If I said yes, I'd be lying. I can't remember.
Okay.
I think it was.
I was interested in that.
I think it was. But I would never really go up to Pratamnak Hill because there really wasn't anything there.
So what was the main, when you got here and you arrived from Hong Kong, yeah? I mean, where did you live?
I lived, I initially, when I first came here, I went to live in Soi Bongkot in a place called La Bella Casa, because after living in Hong Kong, you've got to be a multi-millionaire to have a house in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to get a house. And I think I was paying, in 97, probably 20 grand a month for a house there.
Are we talking Thailand?
In La Bella Casa, just off Soi Bongkot, which was a big mistake because the house got screwed 4 times, and then I moved to a condo But where would I go? Well, really, Walking Street existed, but there was very little on it. There was the likes of, correct me if I'm wrong, Champion A Go-Go, Happy A Go-Go, Super Baby, Super Girls, but really the main street in the day in 97 was a place called Pattaya Thailand 2.
Okay.
Do you know where the Penthouse Hotel is? Okay. Well, Penthouse Hotel's been there for as long as before I got here. And that was the place for bars. It was, you had Lipstick, Bubbles, All Girls Rodeo, Classroom,
Never been there, but he knows all the names.
No, I had a bar there.
I know, I'm joking. But is this the Marine End?
No.
Am I wrong
No. This is
where
before Walking Street. If you're coming down Beach Road, I think it's Soi 13/1. You've got right,
yep.
which has
now it has Boys Town and all that.
Well, Boys Town was on either side of it.
Okay,
majorly on the right-hand side of it, and there was some of the boys' bars on the other side. But the go-to place, the place to have a go-go bar, was Pattaya Thailand 2.
Wow.
And I think really that changed probably 10 years later when a few decent clubs or good clubs who knew what they were doing opened up on Walking Street, and Walking Street slowly started to take off to the point of it overtaking Pattaya Thailand 2, and Pattaya Thailand 2 was owned, most of the bars were owned by one consortium there, and they overnight changed all their girl bars to gay bars. So, of course, I was then a bar, as was Classroom, as was a few other bars, surrounded by gay bars, which is no problem with that. The problem is customers just didn't want to come down and get slapped on their ass by boys.
Everybody to their own, of course, and blah, blah, blah. But yeah,
well, no, a straight guy wouldn't want it.
No, of course.
A gay guy would love it, you know.
Do you want a quick swig of water?
I shall have a slug.
Have a quick swig of water, and I'll do this.
Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand, with your host Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com. Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand, with your host Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.
Back with us in the studio, Andy James is here. He's live, and of course, we're all making mistakes. We all do things like that. But of course, have you made any mistakes? Yes. Okay, let us know all about it. Plenty.
Have you got?
I'm intrigued because you are now giving me and Bobby and everybody in the studio a history lesson. That's what you're giving us.
Well, I've just been before I.
So let me just take you to where we started. They had all the bars. It was up there at the. It was at Pattaya
Thailand
2. All the bars were there. All the girls were there. It was all like that. Okay, you had your bar there. Basically, overnight it changed to the gay.
Well, mostly gay bars.
Gay bars. Yeah. You're still in there, and you still got your girl ball in there. Yes. Where do you go from there?
Well, what I did from there was I knew that I had to move, because it wasn't so much I hadn't have any problem with gay people at all. However, a lot of customers just didn't like walking down the street and being ass slapped by gay boys in G-strings.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, I loved it. Are we live?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can't take you back now. It's gone out there, Andy. That's official now. You do realise that.
Oh dear. Anyway, jokes aside, had to get that one in. I then looked for a new premises, and I found one on Soi 15 Walking Street. So basically, I owned the building on Pattaya Thailand 2. That was a long story, but anyway, we owned the building, and I moved Misty's to Soi 15 Walking Street, and I opened a bar called Legs, where it was open 24 hours a day, obviously.
We're open.
Yeah, 24 hours
Legs
a day.
were open.
Anyway, so that survived as legs for about another year, and then it just died a miserable death because it just really went so gay down there that it was no room for a girl bar. And I also opened another bar called Beavers on Walking Street, which was right next to Boots Chemist.
Beavers and Boots.
And that was a really tiny little bar with only six tables. Old school, remember that. And it did very well. We had it for about 6 years. I partnered with my friend Andy, who was the guy who opened Dollhouse with Daryl, R.A.P. Daryl. And basically, we had that for about 6 years, and then the owner decided they wanted to knock the building down, make it a nice building, and make it into a shoe shop. So that was Beavers gone. But Beavers has reopened in Soy 15.
Has it?
With Andy, yes. I'm no longer a partner there, but he has Beavers and Electric Blue and Dollhouse that do well. I think he's only got one open at the moment, which is Dollhouse.
Who are the people that, I mean, at the moment in the current situation, who are the people that are around Walking Street at the moment? I mean, is there foreigners around?
I think some bar owners have opened because their landlords are telling them that they've got to pay full rent. So you sort of are left between a rock and a hard place. So if you're having to pay full rent while you're closed, you might as well.
It's a bit harsh.
Well, the landlords are harsh. They don't care in general. So basically, people have opened their bars because they might as well. I think a lot of the bars as well are doing a sort of smaller salary with a higher commission for the staff. But from driving around, I don't know how those staff are making any money.
But even like you say, if you've got a landlord that's saying to you, you must pay your money, you're sitting there thinking, do I open and just have a gamble, or do I stay closed and it's costing me a few whatever? So,
well, if you were being charged full rent, the sensible thing I think would be to open and take a punt.
Take a
and
gamble.
if it doesn't work, pack it in and walk away.
Yeah.
You know, but there are good landlords out there who've seen the situation, who understand, and are charging no rent. And there's others that are charging 50%, and there's others that are charging 30%. You know, it's down to the individual. Realistically, it would have been nice for some direction to landlords.
I think it would have been from the powers above. It would have been good that they just said, "Okay, let's cap it at 20%, and that's it." So everybody was the same or whatever. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only throwing a figure in there.
I'm just surprised that didn't happen.
Yeah,
but we did touch on residential. I know a lot of landlords that have helped out their tenants, even though they really don't have to. I mean,
absolutely. I know a few stories.
There's a big difference between living somewhere and utilising it every day to just throwing money down a drain when you're forcibly closed. You know, you're not living there. You're paying extremely high rents on Walking Street, a full location, and that location is finished at the moment. It's dead. I mean, I went. Are we talking about bars now a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay, I went
there
for a drive round around last Friday, and I drove down Second Road, and you go past massage parlours and some bars that are open. Nobody, literally nobody. A load of staff sitting outside looking miserable. Bars that were always popular would be the likes of at the end of Soy Post Office, edging onto Second Road there, and the next Soy next to the name escapes me for a minute.
Okay.
But I drove past them; they were empty. You know, those bars always have people in them. You know, they're an expat sort of place. They're inexpensive, and you know, they're just a hangout, and people watch the world go by. They were dead. I seen
on Facebook, correct me if I'm wrong, that certain people that we're not going to say about it, but they got into like a bit of a price war on beer. You know, which was, you know, and people were saying, but they were saying, why?
It's just desperation.
Yeah, I get that. It's desperation, but why? You know, because there's still the same amount of people down there, and it's not fair if you've got like 10 bars in a row and everybody's doing their beer for X and you want to do it for Y. I mean,
that's business. It's fair.
It is. You know, it is. But
co-ops are illegal.
I get it. I get what you're saying, but I mean, in these times, you would have expected a little bit.
You've got bar owners out there that are wealthy, who can
forget it.
One thing that doesn't know me is that the strong will survive. No, the deepest pockets will survive.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with you being...
We said the egg timer, didn't we, yesterday? The egg timer.
Yeah. There's people out there I know very well who were living month to month. People who've got a little bar and a restaurant. I mean, let's not forget how their lives are just turned over. I mean, if we go back a little bit, we look at, just snap decisions. Oh, shisha's banned. Doink. That's it. Your business is over. You're a shisha shop. You're gone.
Yeah.
Just on a whim. And then you look at, you can't... You can't do this, you can't do that. Just rules change, and people's businesses literally fall apart overnight.
That's one thing that my friends abroad don't understand about here, and that is that things change from day to day.
Just on somebody with power's whim.
Yeah.
So I've watched people's businesses, as I say, just disintegrate overnight because of a rule change. There was the can't have alcohol within so many meters of a school.
Yeah.
It's been passed there for years, and a rule change which literally closed them overnight. And it's people's livelihoods that are just gone.
Let's sort of take it a little stage further, because you got the mistresses down Soy 15, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been there how long now?
About 18 years.
About 18 years,
something like that.
Give or take. Is this the worst you've ever seen it?
Of course. I've been through airport closures, coups, all sorts. Of course it's the worst. I mean, nobody can come in.
Are you actually open at the moment or not?
No, I'd be insane to open.
Okay, all right. It's just a question, because I didn't know if you was getting rent-free and blah, 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 blah.
I can't really discuss my deals.
No, I don't want you to. But
however, if I was to open, I would guaranteed lose a hell of a lot more than what I am.
All right. So
closed.
I mean, what do you think is, in fairness and to fairness in everybody that's in Pattaya, and my heart goes out to everybody that's in Pattaya, phalangs and ties and everybody.
Well, you as well. I mean,
absolutely,
for everybody.
Absolutely. But it's hit everybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how deep your pocket is. It still hits you. Okay. So where do you see? We're talking about the bars, okay? Let's talk about the girls that are here in the bars. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? Is it going to shrink?
Absolutely, because businesses are going to fold. If they haven't already. I mean, right now, nobody new's coming along to rent a bar, so that bar could be closed forever, or it could reopen. Who knows? I would assume that a hell of a lot of bars are already gone that we don't know about.
Sure.
And restaurants. They've just closed for COVID. That will never reopen. It will shrink. I think that's a good thing. I think it needed to.
Do you think, in your opinion, okay, just your opinion,
sure,
that let's say that they wanted to clean Pattaya up, why this is happening, which they're trying to do different things around the town at the moment, yeah? Do you think it would be good to have a zone that would be just for this?
You're talking about something that's been in place for years.
I know it has, but
they zoned and don't stick to it.
Don't stick to it, yeah, I know that.
Walking Street was a zone, LK Metro wasn't, and still isn't, I don't think. It might be.
If I remember rightly from what we did before, over the railway line, over Circuit Road on what we call the dark side, you wasn't allowed to have a go-go bar, you wasn't allowed to put a pole in your place, you wasn't allowed to have dancing.
Yeah, there was a time, and now it's just all been forgotten.
But do you think that that's going to be looked? I mean, after COVID, let's just say that we've got 1,000 bars here, for example, whatever. Yeah,
more.
Okay, 2,000. Let's say 2,000. More. Okay. So let's just say after COVID that over 50, 60, 70% of them are gone.
Yeah.
Right. What's going to be the structure of what's left? Because if you imagine you've got a row of 10, 15 shops or whatever, you got they were all bars before, and then suddenly you got one bar down here and one bar at the end, and then just empty shells. I mean, what do you see the future is going to happen there?
Well, I see the future for the likes of Walking Street. The Indian and Chinese contingent will come in and cheaply get bars and clubs. I think it's definitely going that way. You can't stop it. I think the money situation has changed. Let's not forget 2 massive middle classes have emerged from China and from India. It used to be super rich and super poor. Now there's a very prominent middle class in both of those countries. And they're being allowed to travel and explore the world, which is a great thing. I mean, if you were a Chinese person under communist rule and all of a sudden the doors are a little bit open, a bit of freedom to go and travel, of course.
But what about let's the Cambodian syndrome that happened down there? You think? Tell me if I'm wrong. Cambodia or Vietnam, where they built all the casinos, they built everything, and then suddenly they just went.
Well, that was another typical China thing, wasn't it? China just literally took over Sihanoukville.
That's it. Yeah.
In Cambodia, and they were opening casinos. All they really wanted was the casino license. Now Cambodia were like, oh great, all these Chinese people coming and spending money in our casinos. Wonderful, but that was not the case. The Chinese came in, had the casinos, really were not interested in the casinos. They wanted the casino license so they could do online gambling.
Yeah, sure.
Which does not benefit Cambodia one iota. So good on Cambodia. They went, screw this, you're out.
Yeah, I actually watched a documentary about it, and basically it's just all these massive places. I mean, fantastic places locked, chains on.
Oh, gone. Yeah,
gone.
And the Chinese just left in droves. But I mean, they just take it to the nth degree. I mean, they were even flying in Chinese hookahs. The Cambodians had no jobs. I think they were relegated to at best a street sweeper, and they were just farming Chinese people in as the workers and the bar people and the casino workers, and it was just they did a similar thing in Australia when they were buying the iron ore mines, and they literally fenced off a big piece of land and flew Chinese workers in.
Do you think, especially like for example, like a place like Bangkok and Pattaya, do you think that they're going to turn around and go, okay, you can have a casino now after this?
I don't know.
Do you think it would benefit if they did? I think they would.
I think it would definitely benefit. I think there's a large proportion of the elite Thais or government who want it, and I think there's a proportion that don't. I mean, you've got to police it properly in a country where there's so much wealth difference.
I remember
Philippines is very like that.
I remember going to one meeting where they said this was in Bangkok, and the guy was talking. He said if it ever comes to fruition that we do this, he says we are going to the Falang part, the tourists, the Falangs, whatever. They're fine. They can go in, they can gamble, they can do whatever. But if a Thai wants to go into the casinos, they have to have a special card that vets them to say
exactly
that they
what
can,
Philippines does. That's what I was going to say.
Okay, they can afford it.
Yeah, because what would happen is your local Thai bar bus driver or motorcycle taxi driver will get his salary at the end of the month and go into the casino and blow the whole
lot. Yeah.
So if it's policed properly, yes, it's very, very good. And of course, I think if casinos do open in Thailand, you're looking at, okay, would I rather go to Singapore where the hotels are a fortune? Entertainment, as in drinks and girls and so on, is a fortune. Or would you prefer to come to Thailand where the hotels are inexpensive compared to Singapore? Obviously, your security is a lot better here than it would be in Cambodia or Philippines.
Absolutely.
So, yes, if Thailand got casinos, it would be very lucrative, and a lot of big players would come to Thailand. I know that
the tourism itself to Thailand isn't massive. It's not the GP. It's the percentage of the tourism that comes to Thailand. If you take 100% of the money based in Thailand, only a small percentage of it, of course, comes from tourism. Yeah, I mean it's pretty low. I mean it's 6 or 7 or 8% or something. Yeah, but the thing is that 8 or whatever, let's say 10%. Let's just say that 10% is a massive lifeline to a lot of people.
Well,
it's a massive knock-on effect, but it's only a small part of the GPA of the country, which people do not understand.
Well, if you're talking about Pattaya, obviously those figures would vary than Bangkok. Bangkok is a business centre.
Sure.
People fly in there for business. They're staying in 5-star hotels and going out and spending a lot of money. Whereas Pattaya is more of a tourist destination or a retired expat destination. That's why Pattaya's been hit so hard. I mean, I know Bangkok's really struggling as well.
But Phuket, look at Phuket. They want to try and make it like a place where they're going to test it. Yeah, but like Darren said yesterday, it ain't worth doing it because there's so many hoops to jump through. There's so much. I mean, you got a foot of paperwork.
They're going to allow people to fly in there with no 2-week quarantine.
You got a foot of paperwork. He said before you can even get in there.
Phuket's been hit seriously hard, and one of the worst ones is Koh Samui. Now, I was in Koh Samui not this Christmas gone, the Christmas before, with a very, very dear friend of mine, Mark Saul, and we were staying in this beautiful house on a mountain, beautiful. And we just went down there for 3 or 4 days. And this is not Christmas just gone, the Christmas before. So before COVID even happened, a year before COVID happened. And Koh Samui was literally in tatters then. It was empty. It was dead. Restaurants were dead. It was sad to see. You go past all these seafood restaurants with rows and rows of lobsters, just sitting there with nobody. And this was Christmas.
Wow.
Okay. Now, I know Pattaya was down that year as well. But Koh Samui now is pretty much closed. I mean, it's purely, anywhere that's just purely for tourists is destroyed.
I had a picture from a couple of friends from Phuket that took a picture of the walking street thing in Phuket, and it looked like an old scene out of the Wild West.
Yeah, it's just
it was just it was horrible to see. And when you've been there, I mean, you know yourself, and you have more experience than I am. But when you've been there and you've seen the thing in full power, in full swing,
the whole lot, great.
It's, I mean, Mario's down, isn't it? Our bar, yeah. But it's like bang, it's on. It's full steam ahead. But like,
what can you do when people simply can't get to the destination?
That's it. When people can't get to the destination. In your opinion, when do you see it ending? Have you an idea? Would you think?
Well,
what do you think realistically?
Realistically, when a vaccine comes, that's when it ends. Well, I don't know. Is the honest answer. I mean, there's flu vaccines, there's cold vaccines. Do they work?
No, because we still get the flu, we still get the cold.
Right. Now, whether it takes off the level of how bad it is, I think people need to look at Sweden. They did the herd system, and they just said, sod it, just go out and catch it and get the immunity to it. And then we're told on other levels that people have caught it twice. I actually was speaking to Dr. Peter Lewis, who's a good friend of mine over at Shorecell. You met Pete. And he was telling me about, I think the lady's about 38 years old, and she just caught COVID again, and this time she was on a ventilator and really, really not well. So I don't even know if having it builds the immunity or the next time it's even worse. We don't know. We only know what we're being told. But I certainly don't believe it came from a bat in a market in Wuhan. Do you?
No. No, but that's a conversation. It's a massive debate. We're not even going to go there because, everybody has their opinion and everybody's got their outlook on what's happening.
Look what China did throughout the COVID. They sneaked into Hong Kong and arrested hundreds of these people who were protesting. They then brought out this new security law, all under the umbrella of COVID, that nobody could stop it. And they've literally decimated Hong Kong. Hong Kong's over, in my opinion. And I loved Hong Kong. I lived there for many years. And I used to love Hong Kong. I really did.
It's surely, how many years did you live in?
Lived in Hong Kong about 13, 14 years.
So when you look at the images that are on TV and everything and what's happening on there, it's so disheartening, surely.
It was one of the safest, loveliest countries that I've ever lived. And to watch what went on just blew me away. Because there were, Hong Kong Chinese people speak Cantonese. They don't even speak Mandarin, and they really don't understand the Chinese way, mainland China, because they're not mainland Chinese.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, their rights, they're going to a communist country. And China had promised for the next 50 years that it would be one country, two systems, which they've now, reneged on. So, those people's lives have just changed overnight. In not a good way.
I mean, the like you say, I mean, we are pretty lucky, but the knock-on effect of this has been absolutely humongous, hasn't it?
Of Hong Kong.
All over.
Of coronavirus.
Everywhere. I mean, it's just...
Well, it goes without saying. I mean, it seems to have hit the West far. What I don't understand is how China has the coronavirus, and within 8 weeks, they're all clear, all done, factories open, business as usual, and the rest of the world's getting devastated by it.
They're selling the rest of the world the masks.
Well, that don't work.
That don't work.
Yeah, but
Proven fact, by the way.
Oh, well, some do, but
I mean, yeah, but the ones that they came in the box, the white ones, the thing, proven fact, dust test.
But one thing that does mind provoke is the fact that, from Wuhan to Beijing or Shanghai, there were no recorded cases of COVID, and the States and England and Europe had cases of COVID before Beijing ever even got touched. That makes no sense to me either. How's that possible?
I don't know. And like I said, the debate can go on forever. Exactly. I mean, what's your plan?
And I think people don't want to hear about COVID anymore. They're so tired of it.
It's so tiring. But what about you? I mean, how are you passing your time at the moment then? Besides cooking?
Pornhub.
They're doing a fortune, aren't they? They must be doing a fortune.
That's free, isn't it?
Is it free now?
Does anybody pay for porn anymore?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Do you? Do you?
No, I remember those things where you used to go to the circuses and then also the fair rides and that, and you could actually go to the back and put the coin in and look in and watch the mini film. Did you ever see those?
No, I'm not that old.
No.
No.
Okay, the old.
I don't know, cooking and watching TV, and I do stuff at night time with the US.
And what about your games? Because we went to where did we go to? Took and you spent a fortune on all your stuff, and it's all the bells, the dancing, the whistles, and everything. the Rolls Royce of playing games. How many games?
I wish I hadn't though. I've played World of Warcraft on it. That's it.
How long for?
I thought I'd given up World of Warcraft because it just took too much time many years
ago. Are you
ago.
crap?
No, I'm pretty good actually.
Are you? So why are you not playing it?
Because it becomes part of your life and takes over, and you have to go on.
Just
raids.
What we said. We said this the other day.
And basically, I when the lockdown was on, where we couldn't go out in the curfew, I renewed my membership and played it most nights, and now I'm not playing it at all because I'm a little bit old for games, really.
Well, yeah. Did you think
I play PUBG on my iPad?
What is that?
Player Unknown Battleground. PUBG. It's a pretty cool game.
I haven't got a clue.
We got a question.
Okay, what's the question?
When does he think the tourists/retirement visa owners will be allowed back?
Okay, so that would have been a question.
Mark White.
Yeah, we did that with Darren actually, didn't we, on the show yesterday? Andy or me are not the people to sort of answer that one. I mean, if he looks back on YouTube and goes on to Darren Key Visa, we actually addressed that. So that's we wouldn't like to give him the answer to that one. But thanks for your question, yeah?
I don't think there's going to be a definitive answer on that for quite some time.
It's the retirement thing. They're letting in different people at the moment. Darren's saying they're letting in so many different people.
They really need to start letting, and I've got a couple of friends who are literally stuck in the UK.
But if they've got
wives, and
if they've got wives, they can come. If they've got wives, if they've got Thai wives, they can come. Work permits, they can come.
Yeah, but it's going to cost him almost £10,000 or £12,000. The flights are humongously expensive.
Flight is $33,000, but it's $43,000 for 2 weeks in the hotel. Which we spoke about yesterday.
Well, depends which hotel.
I mean, with shit food, by the way.
Oh, totally shit
food. Even, I mean, it makes your food look brilliant.
That's not nice. That's it. There go your beef cheeks, darling. That's it.
43 grand, what you got? Pulsar and potatoes, mate.
Well, the other people, the guy's Bill who posted his breakfast was paying $84,000 back for 2 weeks.
Wasn't that shite?
Just crap.
It was absolute crap, that was.
But it's a piss take, isn't it?
It is. Listen, it's been great to have you in the studio.
So,
Good. Okay, come again, yeah, please.
I will.
Come again. You always come, I know you.
Probably around 9 o'clock tonight.
It's good. All right. Energy has been really good to have you in the studio. It's always nice to see you.
Delectable Dave.
And hopefully we'll get back in the future to doing some more property shows and, of course, putting it out there when
I want an invite when all the girls are here.
Yeah, we've got, to let you know, we've got the Go-Go Girls coming in. Okay.
What day is this?
It's on our website. On our website.
Which bar are they from?
They're all from all over at the moment. Okay, so we've got the
freelancers.
The freelancers. The Go-Go bars. The Go-Go Girls are coming in,
and
they're going to be doing a show.
When is it?
It'll be on our website. Be advertised.
Just tell me.
We've also got 3 girls coming in here to make suntan. Is that right? Yeah, pot with the pots, yeah?
How about I come in and make something even better
You can make something better.
with my sous vide machine?
And we've got well, you talk about Pornhub, we've got a famous ladyboy coming in and talking about her experiences.
I'll leave you to that one.
So we'll leave you to that one. All right, it's been a pleasure, yes?
And you, sir.
Enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand with your host Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.